Yo, yo, yo! Around the EcomiVerse, episode 72. We got Crypto Rain, Doctor of Stuff, and we got Will standing in as Queen VeVe.
She'll be here. I know. I am Queen VeVe.
Nice. Love it. Love it. Love it. What's been happening, guys?
Not much.
What has been happening? Let's see. We got a few comments here. First like to subscribe. Chuck, smash the like button. And we got some fire from Beer Man. Cool. So, have you guys got any of the drops lately? Any VeVe drops that you're interested in?
Not since Wolverine. I'm very particular on drops off the market these days. So this Assassin's Creed one looked really good, but I was just gonna wait on it.
I guess the big news is the K-pop, right? What are your thoughts on K-pop? Doc, do you wanna be first up?
Yeah, I mean, I did not know much about K-pop or Blackpink or anything like that. So it's been interesting just to see the explosion of people tweeting about the collaboration. A lot of Blackpink fans that are just like, what is this? What is a VeVe? And I think the overzealous community just responding in heaps. I was like, I feel like maybe we should tone it down just a little bit, like maybe kind of help them out and stuff. But like, there's been a lot of like I said, overzealous people just tweeting about it and just excited to bring in new people. But it's interesting, man. Like, obviously you see like the pro VeVe people, and then there's always the people who are just like negative about everything. And for me, because people are like, oh, like, they're not, I haven't seen VeVe comics following getting higher, or and I was like, it's been 14 hours since this announcement, guys. Like, and this takes time. It takes time to build, for people to explore the app, to understand. They don't even know what the collaboration with VeVe is, let alone what VeVe, the platform is, And then they got to get around the hurdle of like NFTs and, the bad vibe that, or like the bad sentiment that NFTs carry with it. That term NFT really I still a lot of people are saying like this is destroying the environment and it uses up a lot of energy. So there's just a lot, and it's going to take time, So it's interesting to just see the people who are just, just attacking VeVe. It doesn't matter what the news is. I mean, Blackpink on Instagram has 58 million followers, and 58 million followers. That's substantial. If we get like 0.1% of that to be interested in this, right? And to fall in love with different IP that they might be exposed to, that's great for VeVe, and hopefully it's great for YG. And Blackpink's not the only like K-pop band that is under the YG umbrella. So anyways, as I've been researching it out, listening to some of the songs and just trying to understand the fandom, I mean, it's massive. It's massive. So like, I'm proud. Like, this is exciting for VeVe. I think that's a huge accomplishment to get that right. And so big win for the community and just for VeVe as a whole in trying to make digital collectibles more mainstream.
Yeah, I think it's massive. Will, what do you think about K-pop?
Once again, I didn't know much about it. Also, started doing some research. When I first heard it, the thing that really popped in my mind was when they were back in Korea with the VR studio. And so it looks like they're really pushing that connection over there, which to me screams metaverse, concerts online, probably concerts on VeVe, hopefully. I mean, I don't know. Anytime you can get a group with all their bands of 100 million followers, like he says, if you get, Doc said 1% is a huge number in VeVe. So, I mean, it's obviously great. Like I said, I don't know much about K-pop, but like Doc, I'm just trying to catch up.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on it, if you don't mind me sharing. There's going to be so it's exciting. I don't think it's going to change much in the short term. I think it sets a foundation so a lot changes in the coming future. I think in the coming couple months, there'll be some people will be like, I'm disappointed. I thought, a million users were going to come in from this. If you look at when Batman or the VeVe app launched and they had the first Batman on the blockchain, you thought that would have been a really big moment. But it did almost nothing for like 6 months. What really took it off is people started paying attention to crypto and then blockchain. And then people said, oh my gosh, Batman's on the blockchain. Then it went big. And so I think that here they're laying a foundation with, Korea is really big on crypto and K-pop is really huge there. I think in the short term, I don't think a lot of the K-pop fans come over to buy VeVe stuff. I think later, as blockchain goes crazy and they're looking for something to grab a hold of, then it goes absolutely nuts.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I know, K-pop is absolutely huge. I think it might be close to the number one biggest sort of genre in the world, like worldwide. And there was someone was going through the stats recently, and they said that they've got more subscribers for Pink Black than they have people that live in South Korea. So there's actually more people subscribe to them, which means that it's worldwide. It's not just in South Korea, even though that's obviously where it started from. So it's looking really, really good long term. Oh yeah, do you guys get the email? You guys all click the email, whether you like black or pink. You haven't got it yet, Rain? Sounds like you.
I haven't checked my email in like 3 days.
Yeah, so VeVe sent an email out. If anyone who's got a VeVe account, make sure you check your email because they're giving away us all a free collectible. We don't know what it is. You have to pick if you like black better or pink better. And then potentially, I think they said it was on June 4th or 5th, something like that. And you've got till the end of, pretty much the end of May to click on that link. So you've got a few days. It was like 20 days, about 3 weeks. So don't rush. Don't panic.
I'm not seeing the email. What's the label?
Mine was in my junk.
Yeah, look in your junk email, Rain.
Does it say VeVe on it? Because even then,
yeah, it was a VeVe email. It definitely said VeVe. I don't know what else it said on there. I can't remember the subject.
And what was the date on it?
And
I got mine today.
It was yesterday. WC3NTE says, why not keep K-pops in a VeVe?
Oh, you're right.
logo?
Went straight to report not spam. Don't send that stuff to my spam. What are you doing?
No email yet. Yeah, look, it seems like some people aren't getting the email. Maybe you have to ask for it again or just check everything. Check all your junk and spam. Big A says, I'm killing it on the Chuck engagement. Yeah, I do like Chuck. I'll try not to mention it too much today. We're here for Around the EcomiVerse. We're here for Omi and VeVe, but I'll still mention Chuck a little bit. Let's see. Energy in the house. I don't know if you guys know, Energy is like a big VeVe whale. He's always good in the community. And Big A says, I think the play was pink because 98% male audience probably all chose black. Yeah, I went for pink as well. Black is a little bit, I'm wearing mostly black today, but black is a little bit more boring. I like some color. Back in the day when I used to go clubbing, sometimes I'd dress in like a pink shirt, bright pink shirt. Great for attention, and it's fun, bit of fun. Yo, Wulu. The plays several accounts. Yeah, I've only got one VeVe account. I haven't even. My wife has an account, but I haven't KYC'd it, so I should probably do that at some point. I choose pink. Okay, well, if everyone's going to choose pink, that just totally voids our idea. It's a mind game.
You guys outthought yourself.
It's a mind game, guys. Cool. Well, the whole market's starting to look like a big recovery this week. Who's excited for overall crypto doing well? Rain, what are your thoughts on the current crypto market?
So we're just in like the post-halving blues. This happens every cycle. So there's a run-up going into the Bitcoin halving, then it cools down for a while. Probably this cool down will be shorter than in years past. It seems like every cycle that cool down gets a little bit shorter. There is significant buying going on from institutions through the spot ETFs, and we never had that before. So I do think there's a supply crunch coming for Bitcoin. That's going to drive Bitcoin's price higher. Is then new money from new people comes into crypto in general. They're going to then start throwing it in everything. And I think digital collectibles at that point, some point in there, hits the narrative really big.
You're 100%. I was going to say, did you see how much Hong Kong put into the new ETFs?
Nope.
In the first 2 or 3 days, it was $250 million. So that's actually not nothing. Obviously, it's not billions of dollars like the US ETFs did, but $250 million in the first few days of the Hong Kong ETF. I haven't seen this week's stats, but yeah, it's pretty awesome. Like that along with US going, and I think Grayscale started buying Bitcoin for the first time through the ETF. Like they've only had outflows up until this week, and they've just started buying. So if Grayscale is buying instead of dumping now, and all the others are buying, and Hong Kong's buying, it's gonna, it's only one direction Bitcoin can go when that starts happening.
Yeah, agreed. Like the Bitcoin's going to run into a scarcity, and people aren't really realizing it, but there will be a supply shortage, and that's going to drive Bitcoin's price really high. And when Bitcoin breaks $100,000, everyone in the world is going to pay attention. I was talking to a really good friend the other day on why it's so hard to change people's minds when they buy into something emotional, because you present a little bit of evidence to them and they just dismiss it. It takes a preponderance of evidence. And so what I noticed about crypto and people waking up to crypto, it takes Bitcoin hitting a price that they were certain would never happen for them to say, oh, my assumptions about this must be wrong. Let me open my mind. And when they do, then they see, oh my gosh, it's more than Bitcoin. This technology is moving things forward. I need to get on board. And so that's what Bitcoin's price does. That's when a whole wave of new people come in. And then as they make a whole bunch of money, they tell all their friends, and all their friends come in too. And we get a few, like 3 waves of people after Bitcoin breaks a high that people said could never happen. And that number is 100,000 this cycle.
Yes. Yeah,
I'm curious to see how May goes. If May recovers faster, like I said, I think the bull run, I know you've hinted to this, Rain, that it'll be shorter. And if it just stays range bound through May, I think you're going to get more of that 100 days before the bull run really starts. So I'm curious how May goes.
There was a podcast I was listening to, and they were talking about some numbers, because there's a saying in TradFi, sell in May and go away, because a lot of the traders basically, like, they kind of set their positions and then they just go on vacation for the summer, right? It's kind of like what seems to happen quite a bit. And so they did this analysis of, they're like, if you had bought in April and May, like each cycle, compared to buying in October of the same cycle, like if you bought in October of that, like each cycle, you were up like significantly. But like if you bought in May, there's like this big trough, like almost every cycle that happens for several months before it finally starts to go up. So if it follows that same trend, which who knows, right? Things are different. They're different this time around, but they were different the last cycle and the cycle before that too, so we'll see what happens there. But for me, I'm dollar cost averaging into a lot of things like right now. And maybe they'll go lower during the summer and I'll have more funds to dollar cost average them more into that. But I guess for me, that's my feeling, is that I think that we're going to see some sideways trading to some decline leading up kind of into August timeframe, because then we have the election. I think that's where a lot of things start to ramp up. There's a lot more publicity, and that's when they're, the economists for whoever is the president at the time, they're trying to push narratives and funds into the economy and make things look really, really good right before the elections. So we'll see if that plays out like that.
I think that timing work's going to be absolutely crazy because of the election and everything. And I think I saw that is the M2 money printer, quantitative easing starting now. Is that right, Rain?
Yeah. So recently the Fed's talking like, okay, we're not going to raise interest rates, but we're not ready to lower interest rates. We're going to hold the same pattern. But then behind the scenes, the number that most people don't follow, they're actually printing a lot of money and putting it into the economy to pump up the economy in advance of the election, which they do no matter if Republicans or Democrats are president. They do it every election cycle. And there's a number of reasons. It's not just political. So it seems like that's starting. And I wouldn't be surprised if this next meeting they lower interest rates, which is going to fuel more money into the market. I think it'll be interesting to see when things start to pick up. But really the big moment when you're all going to appreciate how you stuck through this bear market and you've been waiting for is really the blow off top. That's when you see your portfolio going up. Some of the things in your portfolio going up 5x in a day or two. That might not happen till end of year this year or early next. Who knows? But that is what, I'm waiting for to then sell and take profits. Definitely not to buy more then. But that's what I wait for every 4 years, right? That we get that amazing period every 4 years, and that's coming for us. That's what's going to be exciting.
Awesome. Rain, I do have a question for you because I know you're big into Cardano, or you used to be, and you probably understand it quite well. I've started to see multiple Cardano influencers saying they're no longer doing Cardano. They're done with it. What do you think about that?
Overall, they're worried about the development not coming into Cardano. So overall, they've hit a lot of their goals. Are they getting enough developers to come on it to make it sustainable? It's concerning. Number two, people get frustrated with lack of price increases. So imagine you're a huge Cardano fan and supporter, and you've watched Solana do 20x. Meanwhile, Cardano's done a 2 or 3x. Really, people follow, like, this recency bias thing is big, and it impacts people. And so they just get tired of being where the action feels like it isn't, and they want to go where they feel the action is. Now, then they'll chase into Solana after it's already 20x. Like, where can Solana go up from here? Maybe another 5x. But that's just the human, like, they missed the big move of people trying to buy Solana. Now you miss the move. Sure, can you make some additional money here? Yes, some. You've missed the move. Most of the gains have been made, and it's a bad time to be getting in. It's a good time to start taking some profits out. And a lot of people will argue with me on that. They're like, no, it's just going to go up for forever. And that's what it feels like when it's not going to go up for forever anymore. And then it will move into something else. Probably Solana will, overload because it's getting a bunch of usage, like shut down, and people will lose faith in it. And then the momentum will roll into something else, maybe Polkadot, maybe Cardano. I don't know. I'm mostly diversified out of Cardano, but I'm concerned about, is there enough development activity going on to make Cardano stick around for forever? And there was a couple of years ago enough new companies coming and building on it. I'm getting concerned that there's not enough new stuff coming in to build on it to make it viable.
Yeah, so I actually have a fair bit of Cardano. It was one of my top holdings. Still my number 3 or 4 holding, very, very high up there. So I'm a little concerned. I did watch, I had a lot of Solana too, but Solana, like you said, did 20x, and Cardano hardly moved. We like doubled. It was a bit disappointing.
And that's disheartening, right? But like, it takes a magic crystal ball. Like, we all wish, oh man, I wish I could have timed this perfectly. No one has a magic crystal ball. That's why you use diversification, so that then the one that goes massively up, you don't sell your losers and buy more of the one that's run 20x. You take profits on the one that's 20x and you roll them into some ones you still have faith in. Am I concerned about Cardano's future? I am. It's not. The last 6 months, as I've been watching, I'm like, I don't know that there's enough development activity to come in and make it stay around long term. Will it probably have its day this bull run where it goes 10 or 20 or 30x from here? Probably. But is it going to be around 20 years from now? Not unless there's a lot more development coming that way. And maybe there's more I don't know about, but I'm not seeing it. So I would be concerned. I think Base has come out of left field. Coinbase has such big influence that I think a lot of people are going to build on Base, and nobody was talking about Base 6 months ago. And that's kind of how things change, and you can't predict. You have some big thing come out like Base, and ETH is actually, the gas on Base. And so it's going to make ETH more viable, as well as I think Base is going to get a whole bunch of more development. And who knows what else is going to be a big thing in the coming 12 months that nobody is even talking about now.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I saw Base has done double the transactions of Ethereum over, I don't know, like the last month or so, that's pretty huge. All of Ethereum, and then Base, the layer 2, has actually done double the number of transactions. And obviously that's partly to the cost being like 2 cents per transaction compared to, at least $5 or $10. I know Ethereum's gas fees are the lowest they've ever been during like just before a bull run, because obviously everyone's using Solana and they're using layer 2 solutions, and they're just not using Ethereum like they did last run, which is awesome because the fees are actually quite low comparatively, which is sort of good.
Yeah, clearly Big A's been following Cardano. That is a concern. Hoskinson posting more about luxury travel than actual Cardano progress. True, like he's a billionaire now, I think, even at these prices. And so it seems like he's not as hungry as he used to be. And who can blame him? But that would be a concern if I were a Cardano holder. And he's right. I think Cardano is still established enough to make some gains this alt season. But I thought too that there are better plays.
Awesome. And Doc, I saw your comment there. So you hold Cardano as well?
Yeah, I hold Cardano. I mean, one of the projects that I am super stoked on, and I've talked about it quite a bit, right, is Cornucopias. I mean, I tweeted about it a lot. Yeah, Copy. And now, granted, one of the things that I love about the team is they didn't marry themselves to one community, right? So they actually have they're selling nodes on Base. Like you have to purchase the nodes using Base, and they're going to be doing like a mint on the Ethereum blockchain for some of their NFTs, and they're planning on doing like a race with some of their Cardano NFTs and their ETH NFTs like in the game. So that really, and Rainy talked to me about Cardano like several years ago, right? And I definitely was able to make some money there, and I sold some of it, but then held some. So I hold a decent bag of Cardano still, and just held it through the bear market. So I haven't followed it, so I'm just watching for more comments from Big A and anyone else, And then Tommy Vesper talks about this, yeah. So I mean, it's tough, man, to keep your pulse on everything. I feel like I've definitely got myself into way too many projects, and it has been so hard to just follow up on all of the things and trying to be in those communities, and I'm trying to rein it in a little bit, because I just feel like I'm spread out too thin, and it's really hard to stay into these. Like, this is a big deal. Like, the Cardano community, some big Cardano whales are like,
yeah, that's why I had to bring it up, because it is a big deal, and it is one of my top holdings. I still believe in it long term, but yeah, like Rain and others have commented, if it's not going to develop and people aren't really using it and you're not getting enough use. And yeah, I saw Copy's multi-chain. Aren't they on Solana as well? I think they're on a whole bunch of chains now.
I don't think Copy's on Solana.
I think they did diversify onto some different chains, but I don't remember which ones.
It's at least 2 or 3 chains, I think.
Well, so they're on Binance Smart Chain for sure.
Oh, that's it. Binance Smart Chain. Yeah, sorry, that's it. BNB. Yeah.
They've been on there for a long time.
Yeah.
They've been on.
But that's cool. They're not stuck on Cardano, right? And that's going to give them more exposure as well.
And that is huge. But I'll tell you, look, guys, like, I don't really show much stuff here, or like, I mean, I kind of talk about some things, but I really think that people should look into Cornucopias, like, and not even like, I think the token will do well, but the team is so sharp, and like the game, what they're building is truly phenomenal. Like it really
good.
is.
Looks good,
man. So like, if you guys are just wondering like about gaming projects out there, I mean, this team has been around, and they have been playing it so smart. It's one of the very few tokens that I held through the bear market that didn't drop like 90-95%. Like, their token held a substantial amount of their value. I mean, I think it's still dropped like 50% or something like that. But the community there is wicked strong, and So anyways, like, I'm stoked on that, but that's where a lot of my Cardano ties is from that project specifically.
Same. I have a lot of Copy too. I've almost got as much Copy as I have Cardano. So, Queen VeVe, you came on. Hello, how you going?
I heard someone trying to imposter to impersonate me.
Don't hurt him. Will resist.
It was a gross misrepresentation.
What? That's crazy.
by the way.
You haven't seen her mad.
Well, actually, I was looking the other way. I thought you were on the screen, and I turned around. It was just Will. No,
See? Yeah.
Thanks.
I was just joking.
Thanks. We look so much alike.
Oh, the Queen's coming for us all now. We're gonna call you the Ice Queen. Get some,
The Ice Queen. That's okay.
get Ice Queen.
I'm
Yeah.
the Eva Queen, so
So do you and Will hold Cardano? Because I think
Yes.
before. Yeah. Not a
yeah,
significant.
you're making my stomach hurt during this conversation. Hey, listen to him. He went to buy 3 and he bought 30 just recently.
Yeah. I might have had an extra 0 in there. That one hurt.
So we got 30K just from that transaction. So you guys are talking, and I'm just like,
Cardano.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a decent bag too.
we got a significant amount of it.
Yeah.
Like I said, everything in the top 10 is gonna. Unless something totally train wreck happens. Like I said, because the thing is, one of our plays is it's on iTrust, so we're very limited.
Mhm.
So, that has a lot to do with it. Cardano, even from here, I think is an easy 8 to 10x, honestly, as long as nothing falls out. Now, from what we have to choose, that's significant from where we are right now. So that's the thing is I don't have the option to, I have 30 cryptos or something like that. So
and they're all blue chips, because part of
Yeah.
the problem is it's in the blue chip category. And so during a 4-year cycle, if you get 10 to 20x, you're really good. And it's already up 2x. So from the bottom, it like a 10x from here is a 20x from the bottom. Where does it end up going? Probably 8 to 20x from here. I don't know. Like Big A said, there's enough traction. They'll probably go somewhere this cycle. And just because the narrative hasn't focused on him, that's fine. It'll change. Somebody who was it had a good comment. Tommy Vesper said, Charles was on Spaces last night. He was in a Solana space and had the entire audience interested in checking out Cardano. He also outlined what is coming in their work with Dot, Cosmos, and Algorand, which I haven't heard about this, but Charles is brilliant. He's articulate and he does persuade a lot of people. So him going out there and making the case is helpful because focus will switch. The focus has been on Solana, like, oh, Solana. That does change. It feels like it won't right now. That's when you should be worried that it will. It always feels like it'll never change from this. And then all of a sudden it does. And you're like, oh, crap. Why didn't I realize that was going to happen? How did I get fooled again?
Yeah, like you said, though, even if it 8x, that is a hell of a lot difference than an 8%.
Yeah.
It's so much better than anything else you could be on as far as stocks, right?
Well, anything over 8%. And I tell them this, in my mind, is a win.
Yeah, and the thing is, that's the thing is where we are, it's compared to a 50x, yes, Cardano, I don't think it has that kind of legs. But if I get a 10x in my average bag before that purchase, I was 24 cents almost, or 25.4 or something like. I mean, I'm in good. I'm really not stressed. I mean, worst case to me is at $3, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, look, I think Cardano could definitely pop because it does this crazy thing where it does nothing for ages and then
It always is late to the party.
And it's done that every cycle so far that it's been sort of around. So hopefully, I think it's the third cycle for Cardano, this one. So hopefully it does the same sort of thing again. And it's crazy because I've watched it and it just sort of creeps and then it'll just explode and no one expects it like that. And it definitely moves differently to a lot of other cryptos. So hopefully it does that again. Hopefully there's a longer run this time because last time it sort of was very quick up and then it came down pretty fast. Yeah. So hopefully it's a little bit longer. I guess a lot of it depends on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a big daddy in the room, right? Or big mummy, whatever you want to call it. We have a question for Queen VeVe. Black or pink? What did you pick? Do you get the email?
Pink.
Pink?
Totally
You picked it? You got the email?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pink it is.
A few people in the comments weren't getting the email, so yeah, probably gone to spam or somewhere.
I wanted to just go back to something that Doc said that I think is really interesting, where you talk about just having so many things to deal with. it's funny that you're probably in 20 plus projects. I'm guessing somewhere around there. When I started last year, maybe about a year and a half ago, it started to get really, really difficult too with Recur, McFarlane, Cryptoids. And that happens, and there were only like 6 or 7 of them, Autograph, Top Shot. And even just trying to manage, even both of us, and having a full-time, having a job and having a family and a life, I had to back up and just kind of, that's where it starts to go. I think, Rain, you talk about this is, the best community, the best plan. So it wasn't that like, oh, I don't like Cryptoids or, oh, I don't like this. It just got to be, it's so much to manage. And you have to know on this day, this happens. And sometimes you have to craft at a certain time. And I think we had like 7 different NFT projects, and it was just like, it was too much. And, now we're pretty much down to 1 or 2. Well, VeVe, and then maybe if something crazy good comes up, like
I'll probably go for
Grogu.
I'll probably go for him on Cryptoids. I'm not gonna lie.
But other than that, it's hard. And so I think that's where VeVe really has that advantage, because what are you going to go back to? You're going to go back to a lot of IP and a lot of choices and ease of use. So I think they have a real advantage there from that standpoint.
It is a strong narrative that, if you notice, where's the momentum in crypto? A lot of it right now, right? Meme coins, people coming in and getting meme coins, they don't have to understand anything because there's nothing to understand. And so that's kind of an easy, like, how people can wrap their mind around it really easy. I think that's why Omi does really well. As people come into the crypto space, they look at what's on VeVe and they see some of the top intellectual property and they say, what's the token associated with this? Oh, Omi. And then the next question is, how do I get it? Right. And so you even saw people going to crazy extents to buy Omi last bull run, even though it was so hard to get. So hopefully this bull run, it comes together that's on base so that people can get it from their Coinbase wallet, essentially. And so it's easier to get so that people can come in and buy it. I mean, essentially they can from their Coinbase wallet, using the swap feature now just on Unis or through the ETH chain. I think, does the Coinbase wallet really use Uniswap for their liquidity? Because isn't that where it goes ahead and does it?
Yeah, Uniswap is where that's one of the dApps that you can swap things on the base, like on the base chain. You're swapping tokens.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that. Make sure the best thing is if you in Coinbase wallet and then you use the browser and go to Uniswap and swap it there using the contract address.
Token contract address is a
because if you just do the normal swapping in the wallet, which you can do, I believe, sometimes it uses aggregators, and it goes and it sometimes it'll grab from a little pool and you'll get a bad ratio of tokens. It's best if you can use Uniswap directly, but you can still use through the Coinbase wallet.
And once it's on base, that should alleviate that, because the transaction on Coinbase is just so much cheaper.
Yeah, base is definitely really, really fast, really efficient, really cheap. It's crazy how many projects are now on base. I know so many that have migrated over. We saw comments here earlier for MCade, which is for Metacade, which is a gaming token. They migrated or are in the middle of migrating to base. Obviously, Omi now has a base liquidity pool. Chuck is on base. There's a lot of projects are building on base now. It seems to be the new narrative. And like I said, it's I saw a chart for the daily users coming in. Something like 100,000 new users per day at the moment are joining base. That's a lot of users. That is a lot of users. I think that was a stat. It was really high, and it's gonna match Solana with user base very, very shortly.
It's cool because they don't have a token associated with it, so there's nothing for the SEC to go after there, right? So
yeah, so Beerman, it's a layer 2
to slow it
solution.
down. Yeah,
so it's a layer 2 solution on Ethereum. So it's sort of like Immutable X in a way. It's a lot like there's a lot of different layer 2 solutions.
It's built on the OP stack, and they're like the OP stack. Like what they're trying to build out is kind of like a super chain, right? Where you can reach out and you can interact, like this interoperability with all of these other chains. And yeah, there's a lot building on it right now though. I mean, most of the things on Base, fortunately or unfortunately, are meme coins. So when you're talking about how many transactions are occurring on Base compared to Ethereum, like a lot of it's the meme coin purchasing and selling and things.
I think you're forgetting that a lot of meme coins started on Ethereum. Right?
Okay.
Meme coins started on Ethereum. Also, Solana has mostly meme coins. So I think meme coins. Yeah,
for sure. Right now that's the narrative, but like that can't last forever, right? Like we do need fundamental projects. If we really want these companies to come in and to build, there has to be fundamentals. It can't just be pumpamentals. I'm not complaining about the pumpamentals, and I'm loving seeing the people who are making good money on meme coins. That's fantastic. But at the end of the day, like the long-term plan has to be building things that will matter and that will that can change the experience in TradFi. Like that's what we're trying to get away from, right? Is the lengthy times, the centralization there, right? With so I'm helping write for my job, kind of this paper on the tokenization of real world assets and liabilities, right? And it's just like TradFi is very, very interested in this. And one of the there's the Bank of International Settlements. They just announced this big collaboration where they're doing they're calling it a unified ledger, where it's like a public-private partnership. It's very fascinating what they're trying to build out, but it's for mainly the initial use case is cross-border payments, because I got to pay someone in Europe for something, right? I'm a business. I'm trying to purchase something from overseas. And it's like I go to my bank. They might have a correspondent bank that then goes to the central bank. Then like there's like 5-6 banks, and each one of those has to do KYC on me and the other person in that transaction. It's insane. Like the amount of time, right? Like it's killer for business and for capital and the counterparty risk and the credit risk, all these things. And that's like one of the reasons blockchain was invented, right? And so that's what I'm saying. Like what they're trying to build on Base, like these use cases, there needs to be fundamental projects that are still building to improve this space, because that's when the capital comes in. That's when venture capital says we want to do these raises. That's when token prices can go up, right? Because people want exposure to those type of things. So, and that's what I think that Coinbase is really trying to do, though, with this. You need the user experience. Retail needs to come in, and retail is getting that right now with the meme coins. But at the end of the day, like they're building this smart wallet where basically now I can just have my money in my Coinbase account. I can purchase an NFT on OpenSea, and it just takes it right out of my Coinbase account. I don't need my MetaMask. I don't need this third-party wallet now.
I was about to talk about the smart wallet. Yeah, it's very, very, very good.
That is massive for user experience. And they're also talking about, guys, do you remember? I remember the first time I did a transaction where I was sending a large amount of money. I was shaking. I was like looking at the contract, and I was like, if this is wrong, I just lost all this money. And I even did like a test transaction, and I was still scared, And nowadays we even have like a warning saying like, hey, this address isn't like an Ethereum based address. Like we at least had that, but we didn't have that like 3.5 years ago. And so the user experience is improving and stuff. And that stuff needs to continue to be built out. If we're hoping that 10 years down the road, I'm using my Coinbase wallet or some crypto wallet, and I'm paying for bread on using Solana coin or a coin on Base or a coin on Binance Smart Chain and stuff. So, sorry, that was my little soapbox up. I really hope that we kind of start trending away from the meme coins at some point and really get to projects that are going to be in.
Big A's agreeing with you here, Doc. He said he went to wire bank transfer for his dealership and calculated back 20 years in technology. That's crazy. So how poor some of the technology is still for some of the banks.
Yeah,
and
how long it takes, how expensive.
I was just going to say, in Australia here, our technology is actually not too bad. Like all the banks are pretty quick. But I have friends that they work in the US and they have different LLCs and stuff in the US, and they have to move money around. They said some of the banks there still use checks and stuff, and it's so difficult to move things around, and it's crazy. Like, we don't really have that in Australia. They're a little bit faster for banks, but they're still not ideal. They're nowhere near as good as crypto. What was that, Rain?
So my thoughts on like base having so much action from meme coins. Meme coins can move over the fastest to something because there isn't much other than memes to run about it. So there's not substance. So a project that's been building for 3 years and their plan was to launch on Ethereum, them switching over to something like base, it just takes more time. So I think meme coins have kind of proved that base functions as explained. And so that's good. I don't see a problem that tons of meme coins are on it. That just proving the technology, you would want to see that before, say you're a company that has big plans and you've got all this money and years invested in your project. You kind of want to see that base works well and that people are using it before you move things over. You know, one of the viewers said, I hope Omi doesn't move to base. The transition would take the team years. I think it can actually just get added onto there without having to move the whole thing over to base. They can just keep the existing infrastructure there and just bridge some over to base. So you can buy it on base, but you don't have to like make the team do a whole bunch of work over a couple of years. You know, he's probably recalling back to the Immutable X move over and just kind of the pain and waiting for that to happen.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you know, there's already a liquidity pool that's already on base that you can now buy and sell Omi on. And if the team do decide to do that fully, the liquidity pool will only get bigger. And for Omi to move over there, it's already there. It's really, really easy because it's just a layer 2 solution of Ethereum. So it's really, really easy. That's not a big deal at all. It's a lot. I guess them integrating to VeVe might take a little bit longer. So maybe that's what he's talking about. So no idea.
There's already Omi. There's already Omi L2 token, right, on base, like Jordan was saying. But then if you're talking about migrating the collectibles over to base or something, that still wouldn't be as big of an ordeal as it was to go from GoChain to IMX because it was completely different blockchains, right? So this would, like, IMX is on Ethereum and so would base be. And they could do that. I don't know what necessarily the benefits would be. It might be cheaper. Yeah, I don't know. That would be very interesting. I don't see that happening anytime soon. But with the token, just the ease of accessibility, like I said, once that smart wallet really kicks in, the fact that pretty soon you'd just be able to. I mean, because right now, like I'm still buying Omi, and I just bought some actually yesterday. I bought some Omi yesterday, and it's like get from my Coinbase wallet, and then I send it to my MetaMask, and then I'm checking the price on Uniswap or just on MetaMask itself and swapping out there. And I mean, those fees, are depending on the time of day, can be $15 to $20. Whereas if I get on base, it's pennies. It's pennies to do that. Like that is substantial over time, especially someone who's like, I want to buy Omi and I got $50. They're not going to spend 15 of that $50 on gas fees. They're like, I'm out, But if they can do that on base, and that's where I think that I'm really bullish, and I think it was a smart move for that Omi liquidity pool to move to base. And I think that over time, I believe that will get bigger. I think that sounds like it was a user-initiated liquidity pool, but I would be shocked if VeVe doesn't do something or Ecomi doesn't do something to beef that up and get more people access trading there with the cheap fees.
And I think too, I thought about, which we're talking about, whether they'd move VeVe. I thought, it's almost kind of a shame that, they didn't pick Flow, but, that's all left to be said, right? Who's going to end up being, is it going to make a difference? Because, you look at Flow and you see that they're housing all these, IP, Top Shots, professional sports. So they're kind of getting that pedigree or that, those good names. And sometimes people want to go where something's reputable, where, I don't know, is Muniscan, are they getting that kind of same love? I guess hopefully it ends up being equal, or, they both end up being two viable options. But now you're bringing in a new platform. So maybe that's the way.
Yeah.
You guys, there's that question just about I saw that on Twitter, the terms of service or something like that.
Yeah, it was basically if you haven't used your account for 2 years, they give you a notice to say that you've got 6 months to actively use it, or they will terminate your account. I think is basically what it is.
Wow.
So 2.5. So it takes 2.5 years of being inactive. So don't
So
forget
will
about your
those
account.
collectibles get burned? Is that
I don't know.
what I'm hearing?
Potentially.
Well, so I mean, that's interesting. And so some of the debate that I did see, right, was along the lines of like those are my collectibles, and regardless of how long I'm not using the app, like does VeVe have the right to just like take those over? And then there's a counter argument about, well, banks, if your account is dormant, they can kick you out. To which the response to that was like, yeah, they can kick you out. However, they do send you your money back if you got money in that account. Now, let me tell you something though, right? Because that's not quite true. Right now, there is. I mean, I do have I have $50 in this account that I haven't used in a long time, and basically they're charging me $5 a month as like a servicing of my account, right?
Mhm.
And then as soon as that goes to zero, then they kick me out, right? So that does happen, right? And I mean, as long as in the terms of service. Now, if they've changed that, which my understanding, I don't think that was in there when people first opened the app, to say, hey, if your account's dormant, but there's risk there that VeVe takes on, because if that account gets hacked later on, and then someone sells those collectibles, right? And then someone comes back and it's just like, oh, like you're responsible. But they don't notify them. They don't check for 2 years, right? So it's been 4 years. They come back and all their collectibles are gone because someone hacked it. They're like, VeVe, you're responsible for this. Like, and that's what bank accounts do too, right? Like there's a lot of like fraud and things that can happen. So it's an interesting discussion, and I can see kind of both sides of it. The sides that are saying, well, banks do that to a certain extent. Does that make it okay? I don't think it makes it okay,
But it makes you wonder, do they know the bot accounts? And is that something where that might be a different standard? So like if they know they're botted, they still really haven't said what they're going to do with those accounts, right? Or those collectibles. So it's kind of the same thing. Like I would wonder if they knew they were definitely bot accounts. To me, the logic would be much easier to say, okay, we're closing the accounts and then we're burning the collectibles. The other way where you just haven't used it and they don't know whether you're a bot or not, I can kind of see like leave it alone. I mean, I guess if they come calling, it should be there, but
yeah, I don't see why they would take that legal risk in either of the cases. Like to actually shut down the account and like burn the collectibles, like that is, I would prefer they don't actually go that way. Maybe that email is to get people to log into their account so they can show them as active users somehow, but like actually shutting down the account or burning the collectibles, I think that would be a devastatingly wrong move. It doesn't really cost them anything to let them just stay open.
It does,
at least that I'm aware of.
It does cost them because they have
What
to
does it
monitor
cost
that.
them?
They have to monitor those accounts because, like I just explained, if there are hacks or something happens and they're trying to contact the person and they're not responding, right? Then again, there's legal risk that way. And they're like, well, what do we do? Do we like, how do they know if the account's been hacked or not? They just all of a sudden see that someone has accessed the account and is selling the collectibles, and so that is a risk. And that, again, that's what banks do too. Like that's why they have these dormant accounts and there's flags. And then if you haven't accessed, like, so for me to go back to that account, I had to call in and be like, yeah, I know it's dormant and I'm so me, and I have to verify all this stuff and go through all of these things to verify it, to transfer out the $30 I have left in that account. I mean, I probably should. It's $30, but like I just haven't, So there is that side of the risk that I didn't see in the conversations get brought up there, or the fact that there are some banks that will charge you a servicing fee if you're not being active at least doing 7 transactions or 10 transactions a month in the account.
Yeah, and I guess I'm thinking of a collector too. Like as the collector, I kind of want to know, if those botted accounts, locked up 30,000 Spider-Man. I want to know that, and I want to know, you know what I mean? Like, not that they even have to burn it, even if they just said, we know these are dirty or botted or they've been sitting there for a long time. It's kind of nice as a collector to know those numbers. So I'm just kind of a little.
All of us OGs remember those days with the bots getting all the drops and how frustrating that was.
I just want to address that that somehow I can't compare VeVe to a bank. I think it's actually a pretty solid comparison. I just gave you an example of what banks do, and banks are centralized platform where like you have to get KYC to go on there to transact and everything, and at the same time, the banks can hold your money if they want. That's in the terms of service. So if a law enforcement says, "Hey, you know what? You got to freeze this account," they'll freeze your account. They'll freeze all your funds. That happens all the time. So it is a centralized platform. I think it's a decent comparison there. I'd like to hear why I can't compare it to a bank, because I just felt like I give some pretty solid examples of similar things there. Yeah.
I guess what I'm worried about is when people take a beating, a lot of people walk away and forget about it. And then they come back a couple years later when it starts blowing up. That's going to anger a lot of possible people, which is why I wouldn't do it. Because when I took a beating in 17, 18, I didn't open my Kraken account for 3 years. And then I'm like, oh, wait.
And then he did.
And I'm like, hey, I got $8,000 in there. Sweet. You know, and that happens. I did it, you know, so that would be my only thing. If you're trying to weed out the bots, great. But I don't know if that, because you got 200,000 users that could come back and not be there. And that's not going to get them to join the platform again.
Yeah, let me clarify. I am not advocating or saying that it's okay. Like if this is in the terms of service, I still haven't read it, right? I'm not advocating that that's okay. I am saying that does happen with banks. I don't like that I've been losing $5 a month for this thing because I'm too lazy to like go close the account, right? Like, so hopefully I'm coming across, or like it's not coming across that I'm like, yeah, this is okay. I don't think it's okay. And just like you said, I mean, like, Will, like, there's multiple stories of people that were like, oh, I forgot I had Bitcoin in this account, right? And then I came back to it, and like now I'm a millionaire or something. That would be devastating. That would be so upsetting. Like if it's just like, oh, like, yeah, I've kind of lost interest for now. I'll just kind of chill. I'll forget about it. I'll even like I'll delete the app, you know, and then like it pops back up again, and hey, what's going on? Wow, my collectibles, like maybe they are worth something, you know, or they were worth more. I mean, I don't understand why that'd be the case. But Big A was saying that this actually came out like a year ago or something. That this isn't new.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So, anyways, interesting conversation. Hopefully, at least happily address that for you.
So I want to explain how I want to explain how
to the banks, Doc, because my bank would wait till you get to zero, charge you the $5 service fee. Then they're going to hit you with the $35 overdraft fee for every day. So that's the kind of stuff the banks have done to me in the past. So
Biscuits there says it's still not a fair comparison because if a bank closes your account solely for inactivity and you have money in it, they'll still send you a check. Maybe you didn't hear that part, Biscuits, where a lot of banks actually, like if you're not using your account, they just slowly drain the money from your account. Like I just said, $5 charge, a servicing fee that they're doing until it goes to zero, and then they close your account. So there is that. Now, to your point, though, like I agree, Biscuits, that if there is money and you close the account, then they'll send you a check. And there are some banks that will close your account with money in it. They typically don't like to do that, though, because then they got to try to find you, right? And if they've been reaching out to you and saying, hey, you're inactive, your account's inactive, then they got to send it to the state, and it's a sheeted and things, and that's a pain for them too. So maybe some people won't agree with that comparison. I do think overall it's a decent comparison in the fact that banks can slowly take your money away from the terms of service until it's zero and then close your account. And so VeVe taking all of it, they're not like taking a collectible a month or something like that, right? They just close it immediately. I don't agree with it. I'll just put it that way. So
I was going to say the process,
and they won't burn it, and then there will be a reactivation process. Maybe they'll do something like that where, you guys convinced me. I hear it now. It wouldn't be good for them to probably do any burning, but Doc, maybe they could close it, and just you have to kind of jump through hoops to get it back, right?
Yeah. Why can't they do
probably another problem. Like, we're not going to mess with you anymore, and we're going to close you. But there's a process down the road if you do come back. That would seem like a fair thing to do.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, I think it's 2 years of inactivity. Then they send you 6 months worth of like emails saying log in, log in, log in.
Like
So you
Wayne
just-
active on VeVe, and yet his still goes to spam. Mine went to spam. So I mean, that's the only problem with that
True.
too.
You just spam. Yo, Bill Gardner in the house.
Hey, Bill.
Yo, Bill.
First name.
Cool Mo, he was on here earlier. He wants to come on the stream next week, so we'll probably get Cool Mo on in the Apple VR, Apple Vision Pro AVP.
Ooh.
So that'd be cool. And he's got the new avatar. Looks really cool inside that.
Doc, did your Vision Pros ever make it to Germany? You were having a hell of a time with it. Did they ever make it to Germany?
Yes, but you know what didn't make it to him is the freaking batteries.
No.
Additional batteries. Oh my gosh, the nightmare. I probably spent 40 hours or more trying to ship those freaking things. What a nightmare. And then someone told me, they're like, look, if you just say it's for a trade show, it'll go through no problem. And I was like, well, lesson learned. But yes, the Apple Vision Pro did get there, but the batteries. So ironically,
Why were they flammable?
Yeah,
Did they get
they're
lost?
class 9 hazmat.
This is what's interesting. So the batteries themselves, if they are attached to the Apple Vision Pro in the packaging, you're fine. But if they're unattached and independent, not fine.
Okay.
I'm learning all of this, and so
They're hazmat.
Okay.
yeah, they're hazmat exactly. And so and look, we heard stories back in the day. Do you guys remember those Samsung phones that were like exploding in airplanes and stuff like that? And like that is a real thing still with lithium ion batteries, right? Like that's the whole danger there. But so the individual, they were in Florida, and I'm like, sweet, I'm going to ship them to you. And it was like, they'll get there by this day. They never got there. I don't even know where the batteries are anymore. Like I contacted and they don't know. And I was just like,
So Doc,
they're just gone.
Doc, I used to sell products on Amazon, and one product I always stayed away from was anything with a lithium ion battery, because they're so difficult to get past the whole process. You've got to because getting them manufactured is fine in China, but then getting them sent from China to USA is difficult, and then getting from USA into Amazon's warehouse is even more difficult. You've got lots of different hoops to go through, and you got to get it all regulated and everything. So I just stayed away from all battery devices. So I understand the pain there, and it is possible they could explode and they could hurt someone, right, if they're not taken care of. So they cost extra to send across, and they are really difficult to deal with. So
yeah. Well, hey, everyone, I've got to go. I got to take my daughter gymnastics. I do just want to address Biscuits, and can I just say something? I got to say something to Biscuits. Like, Biscuits, I appreciate you. You and I, we've had our different conversations, and sometimes we disagree. And I hate the way that people attack you for voicing your opinion. I think it's important. I think it's important to express your concerns. You should always be able to do that. So thank you for doing that. I think that you actually do it in a much politer way than a lot of other people. So I appreciate that, and I agree that there is a difference with the bank that is slowly draining your account as opposed to just like after 2 years doing it. VeVe could rewrite the terms to just say after a year, every month, we're going to take a certain amount of collectibles and drain it that way. I still wouldn't agree with it. I don't think that that's the way to go. I don't like that they're doing that either. But anyways, I appreciate everyone. I really enjoy. Jordan, thank you again for constantly hosting this. What a work of love, my friend. To be doing this every week, it's a lot.
Oh, he's getting paid now, man.
We have a sponsor now.
We have a sponsor. It's not just love anymore.
That's true. I'll have to shout them out there.
Oh yeah. You know what? Touche. So I take that back, Jordan. No, but
no, thanks. We love having you on, man. We love having you on here. So thanks.
Yeah, I wish I could make it more. So, anyways, appreciate y'all and have a fantastic week. All right.
Thanks,
We'll see you, Doc.
See ya. Have a good one. Awesome. Yeah, look, it's exciting time with crypto, with VeVe, with Omi, with Chuck. There's lots of exciting things happening. Yeah, the VeVe terms and conditions, we know what it is. It's mostly for bad actors. So if you're doing the right thing, it's probably not going to be a big issue. Make sure you log in more than once every 2 years. Not a big deal. We can move past that.
Jordan, I have to differ with you on that. It's not it doesn't feel like an exciting time for a lot of people who are in the space. for those with the longer term vision, they realize where this is all going. And that's exciting because what is coming together is really exciting. It's hard to feel that right now, and that's normal. A lot of people totally get shaken out during this time in the bear market, especially if they survived all that long, boring bear market and they get to this point. The last few people drop off right in this space because it's just like, is this ever going to happen? No, it's not. And they get shaken out. It's still coming. I mean, barring nuclear war or EMPs going off across the world, I have no idea what the world looks like if that kind of thing happens. But barring major catastrophe, I don't see why the massive bull run that happens every 4 years doesn't happen this cycle. It doesn't quite take 4 years. It's a little bit less than that. And that's coming for us. And it's going to be big. And most likely, the probabilities are huge that it rolls into the digital collectibles narrative and digital collectibles take off. And then people say, oh, what's this OMI token? And so all those that have been patient, probably you'll see some big pumps on your digital collectibles, especially certain ones. And the OMI token will probably go crazy during that time. And that's going to feel really exciting. It may not feel exciting now, but prices are super cheap. It's actually the most exciting time. It's just hard to feel that because when prices are really cheap on something and then later it goes high, like that's amazing, but only if you bought when it was cheap.
That makes sense.
Isn't that the truth? But the lull is painful. I mean,
Like right
it's
now,
not- probably not like
does it
real
feel
estate.
exciting to be, especially holding the OMI token? Does it feel exciting to be holding the OMI token right now? Not really. It feels quite boring, which is usually when I do all my buying, when it feels boring as hell and most of the people are tired and exhausted. That's when prices are cheap. Like, does it feel amazing to be holding Solana right now? Yes. Is it a good time to be buying Solana? I'm sure as hell not. But the time to be buying it was like under $50. And so anyone who was buying during that time, they're really excited right now.
I understand. So yes, I'm always looking long term vision. But yeah, definitely if you only held OMI right now, that was your only token, it would definitely feel quite boring because it just hasn't done anything. But same as Cardano, basically, right? They're in the same boat at the moment. They just haven't moved, and it doesn't mean they won't move. They just haven't yet.
The majority of the substantive projects haven't pumped yet. Only a few have, right? So yes, a bunch of meme coins have run and Bitcoin has come up a bunch, but it's mostly Bitcoin and meme coins that run in the early days, and then it cascades into fundamentally strong projects. But it takes too much research for new people with new money rolling it in to roll into those right away. They kind of grab onto Bitcoin because they've been following it passively for years. And then they roll into meme coins because they don't know anything about crypto. Like whenever new people call me that I talked to about crypto 2 or 4 or 5 years ago, you know what the first thing to tell me is? Like this has happened like 5 times in the last little while. Oh yeah, I have some Doge. Oh yeah, I have. And it's like always, I have some Bitcoin and I have some of these different meme coins. I'm like, oh my gosh, but it's just because there's no technology there for them to wrap their mind around. They just kind of throw it in there because like there's nothing to understand, so they don't get overloaded and they roll it into there. But as they become more aware, then the money cascades into fundamentally strong projects. What I like about VeVe is it's kind of a hybrid. It's a fundamentally strong project, which I love that, as well as it's an easy to wrap their mind around project in that, oh, it's associated with these Disney digital collectibles or these Marvel digital collectibles or Batman or whatever. Oh, okay, cool. I want that. So it's kind of got some things like meme coins. And I think this is why it pumped so well last cycle and why I think it'll pump this cycle. It's easy to wrap your mind around. It's also fundamentally deep.
Awesome. I can't wait for OMI to NFT. And I believe that's coming this quarter, right? So we've got another month and about 2 months left.
Well, you saw that.
I just don't even
today.
think about the timelines, right? They're like, oh yeah, it's going to be coming this quarter. I was like, okay, it'll come when it comes.
Yeah, but you saw Uncle Jay asked Foster if there was any updates he could share, and he said he's working on it soon. So, you know, the soon though.
I have a
Soon
hat.
means sometime
I have
in
a
the
hat
next 3
made for
years.
Jeremy's been a little. It's probably been about a year now. He's been, getting a little bit more when. So hopefully
I
soon.
haven't seen his post on X at all. Is he still posting? Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Every once in a while.
but
Most of the time, it's nothing. but every once in a while, like he just did, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, he asked Foster if there's any updates he'd like to share.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
he's got a big bag. I'm sure he's got a pretty big bag.
He
Yeah,
must have a billion Omi at
he's
least.
been around from the
it's-
beginning, right? Yeah.
Matthew's saying, with Blackpink email, it's surprising how many adults still surprised about a junk mail folder in the email account. Yeah, look, a lot of people don't check the junk because most of the junk filters, like for Gmail, for instance, have a really good filter, and it mostly only filters junk. But you still get the occasional good email that goes through. I've never had the VeVe emails go to junk, so that's not a big deal for me.
Yeah, mine went straight to inbox.
It depends as well. If you accidentally flag it, like if you accidentally push the wrong button, you flag it as junk. Sometimes that can confuse your filter. Otherwise, if somebody, what it could also be, if you're on another server that everybody, a few people have used that server have clicked VeVe and turned it to junk because they don't want to get those emails anymore, then it might do it for yours too if you're on the same server. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Anyway, Abe here says, feel great holding Omi, DCAing everything I can. So
I know Abe, and Abe has the long-term vision, right? And he gets where this is going. So yes, of course he understands why it, even though it might not feel exciting, it's absolutely exciting to be picking up Omi at these prices.
I'm still
and I actually get excited too, but that's because 20 years of like changing my hardwiring to understand when things are low, I get excited. But that didn't come naturally.
So what are you doing now, Rain? Are you just kind of, Jordan, I think you had kind of said that you're to the point where you bought and you're kind of just sitting and you're trying to be patient and wait. Rain, what are you doing right now? Are you?
So some of it is like living life. I'm not spending a whole ton right now because it's a bad time to be selling things, because when you quit your day job, which I did in 2021, what that really means is you have to sell assets to pay for your lifestyle. And so I set aside a bunch of money in 2021 to last for a number of years. And then like this cycle, I'll harvest a bunch more and I'll probably roll some money into real estate to diversify out so that I've got income coming in every month, because it is no fun selling assets in like a lower market. And so right now, like I'm going on some adventures. I was just in Arizona with Randy and VeVe Fam Bam and some other VeVe Fam members. Name Coast and his wife Tina, had a great time with them. I've actually been traveling quite a bit. I was in Mexico, I was in California, so I guess traveling, as well as still researching and figuring out what I'm in. I haven't been changing a lot of my buys. Like I feel really good about a lot of the things that I am in. So I'm really happy about that. I did get access to Illuvium's private beta 4. And I think Illuvium's going to be a really big deal. So I'm excited about that. Illuvium's market cap is about 300 million. Where could it go from here? Axie Infinity went to, I think, about a $15 billion market cap during last bull run. It's possible Illuvium goes to like a 30 billion market cap, which would be 100x from here. I'm trying to feel out how strong I feel about that. I have a little bit of Illuvium. If I feel stronger about it, I might move some more money into it because I just have a little bit of exposure on the actual token. I have a lot of exposure on the land. I think I have about 24 plots on the land, and I'll probably get some more of the land. I think one of the undervalued things right now is land in some of the metaverses and some of the bigger blockchain games. Nobody's really talking about them, which is when I like to like research and buy, because the prices are usually really low, and they are in most things that have land. Though I'm not just going to throw it at any crap. I want things that have good potential win. So like Sandbox land is really cheap. Axie Infinity, its land is cheaper. I'm not going to buy any more Axie Infinity land. I already took profits on that forever ago and won't rebuy in. But like Illuvium land, what else? Network land is a little bit riskier. What else? I think Sandbox. I do think Bored Ape Yacht Club land. Talked to Crypto Cosmo about that. He's followed it really, really well, and he's made a big investment into it. he turned me on to that, and I agree with his analysis on it. That probably going to be big from here. I think the entry level cost on their land is about $400 per plot and I think like $800 for some of the better plots. So I think that's a big play that could do really well that nobody's focusing on right now.
What is it? Sandbox.
Raymond,
Is that the other one?
Do you have any Earth 2?
I don't have any Earth 2. I reviewed it back in 2021. And I just thought, gosh, at the time it looked like a fly-by-night project where they basically got a map of the Earth and they overlaid it with like land sale, and they raised a whole bunch of money. They stuck around the whole bear market and continued working. So I know Randy got into that. A bunch of people got into it, and they built a community. I just really, what is the substance behind it? That's what I've never understood is like, okay, so they took a map of the Earth and they did this, but like, really, what's the substance? What's the gameplay? Like, one of the reasons I'm a little bit concerned with network is like, what's the substance? What's the gameplay? Sandbox has had enough major players move in and invest with them that they'll probably get some traction this bull run, even if they don't ultimately survive. So that's why I think they're safer than network. But I have a bunch of network land. I'm not buying more of it. And that's why I'm concerned about Earth 2. I'd have to be convinced if I'm going to move money into it that they have enough traction to do really well. So that's why I'm a little bit worried about network getting enough traction, even though I own a bunch and I hate to FUD a project I'm in, but like, I'm not buying more of it. And I don't, I'm hesitant in sharing with you. Like, I'm not saying go out and buy network land. I do like Alluvium land at the price that's at, Sandbox land, Ember Sword land, I think is a really good deal. I think they've got enough traction to stick around, and some other ones.
Okay. Awesome. I was gonna say that's fine. We're gonna Matthew Lambie put the email here. Everyone who successfully submits the answers will be eligible for free digital collectible delivered to your VeVe collection on the 4th of June. So yeah, that's happening with the black and pink. Philip B says Earth 2 I think is risky. There's no good development team behind it. So
Randy would be able to answer that question much better than me, right?
Yes.
I just don't know. But Randy would.
Bill's into it. Bill's big into it as well. I think.
Yeah, Bill Gardner.
Bill's a massive whale in Earth 2.
And they're about to launch their Essence. So all those people who bought land forever ago, especially during the bear market when they could have got it really, really cheap, are now going to get Essence. And if Essence ends up doing well, then it'll bring some momentum back to the project. But I just don't know enough to invest in. I definitely don't know enough about the team, and the team makes all the difference.
For sure.
Land's interesting, though. I didn't think about that. I mean, now I have something else I'm thinking about.
So yeah, gives me money when you make her think, so you have to continue to make her think, because she isn't giving me any money right now.
I don't give him
money. I'm on a spending.
She's super conservative, yeah.
You guys have land in anything?
No, we don't. No.
The challenge with land,
I'll ask them.
Part of the struggle with Bored Ape land, one of the reasons I haven't bought any yet is like I don't understand the different metrics yet. It's not like a token that you can just buy the token and they're like essentially all the same. Whereas land, it's like, okay, with Axie Infinity, it had to do with how close was it to the main area, how close was it to roads, etc. Like Bored Ape Yacht Club land, I'm like having a hard time wrapping my mind around. If you buy it from OpenSea, then you have this little worker that comes with it that you can then like open up, and it's one of 3 types. But if you buy it on the secondary market through Bored Ape's site, then like it may have already had the workers separated from it. And I'm like, there's so much here.
I want a worker.
I know, right? And that worker, if you end up getting a good one, like Crypto Cosmo was telling me, he bought some land and he got this worker that he was able to sell for
doctor stuff
for 3. Like he was able to get enough from selling that worker that he could buy 3 more pieces of land because he got a rare worker dude. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. So
yeah, all the different types of land have different utilities and different ways of giving you value and different.
You guys don't realize how hard it was for me to get her into VeVe. Now this, I just didn't go that route at all.
Right?
I did not try.
VeVe
Yeah.
Ben, what's happening? Is there some news
That's
we've
what I
missed
do.
out?
I'll say, hey, people are talking about this. Do we have any of that? And he'll, say yes or no. And if he says no, then I'm like, you want to look into it? And then that's when, where's my money?
No, you can't. Can you buy Illuvium on like where you have your what is that called? Where you have your 401k?
No, we
You
have
only have like
we have
40
two of them.
options,
I mean,
right?
Yeah, that's
we have our normal
Yeah.
investments, but we also have a 401. We don't just have crypto on our 401.
Well, that is a great place to have your long term because you can, if you have it there in like a Roth IRA, you can swap between things
It doesn't
without
cost.
incurring any taxable gains,
awesome.
right? Which is awesome.
But like I
Already-
said, that's why we're limited on the Cardano, where she was worried and I'm not, because with the price we're in, I still see it going to $3, which is better than sitting where it is. It's hard still to get a 10x of what else is available to me on that
Yeah.
platform.
But can,
So
but
there's a
can
little
you
bit.
can you take it out when you want it, or is that you have to wait?
Same-
Is it
it
locked?
would-
Yeah, same as a normal
same as
for
a- yeah.
Now, what we did do though with part of it, and I think this loophole is going to be closed soon, but we did, I converted some of my traditional into a Roth, and you pay the taxes like on what it is when we converted it. But the thing is, if that 10x is in this cycle, and I, just put it into something, whatever, USD or whatever, that
Well, we
money,
can keep it cash.
I don't have to pay another bit of tax on that. Now, if I take it out early, you still incur that 10% penalty. But I don't think they intended for people to skip that much taxation with the Roth loophole, if you will. Because I mean, imagine putting 100K in a Roth and then, your portfolio 25xing. I just
$2.5
don't.
million with only 10% tax.
Yeah.
I think that loophole is going to be shored up.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't
because
know. That loophole sounds like something rich people would put in, right? Politicians.
Well, that's
don't
the
do that.
advantage. You pay 30% up front and then it's all free.
I mean, it's not really a loophole per se, but I think when they put it in, the thought was you're going to move it into a traditional IRA and IRA assets. So you're not going to see a 60 return, a 60x return like this. But, the potential to go over a few cycles at 100K pre-tax, I mean, that's just craziness. That could be a couple $1 million, and I only paid taxes on 100K.
Yeah, Illuvium's not in there. Actually, Affinity it is, but I didn't buy any with it.
But we could with our Cardano if you're feeling.
I'm concerned about Axie's future. Like they have a whole bunch of employees and like economists they've hired to try to figure out how to move it forward. But sometimes like trying to turn the Titanic around and they end up getting beat by just some other company like Illuvium, which has a super focused team that comes in and blows out of the water. Axie Infinity did a lot of things, but the gains have been made on that. Whether it continues to run hard, they would have to really upgrade their gameplay. I don't know if that comes together. Sometimes trying to turn the ship, it just gets beat by a more nimble ship that's going the right direction that then gets bigger. Like Illuvium or like Shrapnel is coming out. You have Gunzilla's game Off the Grid coming out. And so Axie Infinity is going to have a hard time competing. They were just first to market with something that was functional in 2021 that they were able to go big, and they were the only thing out there that was near so functional. So that's why they were big. I mean, the reason I bought in it is they were one of the first developing this idea and the first with this idea of blockchain land. And it was a speculative buy. At the time, I was like, yeah, 30% chance of success on this. But if it does go big, it'll go really big. And it succeeded, and it went really big. I mean, I sold early at 100x. Had I held on 6 more months, it would have been about 3,000x.
I know it's hard though. 100x is pretty good.
I know, right? Like, oh man, I only made 100x in 4 years. Yeah, nobody feels sorry for you.
No, that's the thing is Cardano. It's one of, with her, it's got to be safe. So most of it is in Bitcoin, but it's also, because to her, if she doubles her money, she's ecstatic. And I'm like, well, I think there's better ways, And so, like I said, I mean,
Bitcoin will do more than a double anyway. Bitcoin will do more than a double.
Yeah.
Oh, we got in like 25,000 on Bitcoin. So we're sitting there. We're happy.
You're already 3x.
That's pretty solid because that's probably basement free. Like even at the floor of the next one, the
Yeah.
bargain basement prices probably won't even go below that.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we're
for sure.
pretty happy. I mean, she's ecstatic, but now because we have so much leveraged up in Bitcoin, she's willing to give me a little bit more to try to be a little more, because we're still up, 6 figures. So okay, try to make more, So,
Make more money.
She
that's it.
is definitely way more conservative than I am. I'm still I hardly hold any blue chips at all. I'm still in the
Rain,
risk.
I still can't believe you have no Bitcoin. It drives me. It makes my
We
brain go
have
crazy.
so
I
much
used to
money.
last run, like 2020, I held half in Bitcoin and I got wrecked because the opportunity cost of it. The opportunity cost, I found out how big the opportunity cost was. And I was like, shoot, imagine had I had it all in these altcoins. Oh.
Well, that's the narrative going around with Omi right now is opportunity cost.
Yeah, that's what drives people crazy. And there was a lot of that in the last bull run. Like Cardano ended up running early, but like Axie Infinity, a lot of people fudded out of Axie Infinity. Why? Because Cardano was going way up for months and months and months, and Axie Infinity land was doing nothing still. So people probably sold their Axie Infinity land to chase into Cardano and chase into Bitcoin and missed out on 100 to 3,000x gains from there because it felt like the opportunity cost was so high. So it is like, just, I don't know, like, yeah, Omi, it feels like, oh my gosh, I'm missing out on so much. It does feel like that. It is hard because things don't run at the same time. And so they'll sell something low to chase into something that's high. And like 90+% of people in crypto do this. And it's terrible. It usually goes so bad for you. Every once in a while it goes right, but most of the time it ends poorly for you.
Yeah, and you're more experienced. I mean, for me, I just want to go. I want to take my Bitcoin to bed with me and curl up with it and go into a long sleep. And when I wake up, it's going to be this magnificent stallion coin worth $1 million or $2. That's what I want to do. Or even then, I don't want to let it go if it's the
for
newest.
your risk profile. It's a good one, right? Because there's only so much Bitcoin. Not even all the millionaires in the world can own a full Bitcoin. And so like your only risk is Bitcoin gets hacked at some point, which there is a risk that it could get hacked at some point. If it does, that's going to shatter through a lot of crypto too. Maybe not all of it won't necessarily destroy crypto. It'll destroy Bitcoin. But there's that risk with every project has that. Bitcoin has a track record that's been around longer than everything else and hasn't been hacked like that yet. So it's one of the safest.
Or you can have an Enron situation. I mean, even in traditional investing, right? We have risks. We have risks in traditional. A company can lie. A company could go bankrupt. All kinds of situations. It's not as frequent, but it's always possible, right? In every investment.
Exactly.
Awesome. And I just saw a little shout out to Chuck there from Crazy Dan. Yeah, it's doing well. Like it's done 100% gain in the last 1 week.
He keeps telling me.
Yeah,
it's up 50% today, honey.
What's crazy, guys? I only put a small amount of money in, and it's about to flip my Bitcoin. And Bitcoin's my biggest holding. So if Chuck just jumps up 1 more million market cap, which is about around 12 million right now.
You would shoot me if I put that kind of money in a meme coin, by the way.
Oh no.
No, I didn't put that much in. It's just gone up that high.
Yeah, but so if people were to take that and think, oh my gosh, I can put in $100 now and turn into 40,000 from here, the momentum that would require for it to go those kind of multiples from here, like meme coins are cool. I think Chuck was not lucky, but smart to put it on base as momentum was going into base, and they benefited from that. What will it do from here? I have no idea. I just don't touch meme coins because, like, at the end of the day, somebody's left holding the chair because there's not long-term value in it. What you can hope for your meme coin is it gets big enough to have traction that it will stay around multiple cycles. 99% of them don't. So like there's like 3 that have gotten big enough that they'll stay around multiple cycles, and that's Doge, that's Shiba, and that's Pepe. And maybe a few more will end up staying around these cycles, but over 99% of them just they if they get some momentum, and most don't, but even if they get momentum, they then at some point there's a sell-off, and that sell-off takes it all the way down to like nothing.
And
Yeah, I
that's
think-
funny
I think
because we
Bonk-
can
Bonk
buy
is big.
Sheave in our IRA. We can
What's
buy Sheave and Doge. The IRA, you
Doge?
can buy Sheave and Doge. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you should get them Doge. Doge is good.
Yep.
I think Rain. I think Bonk is now solid. I don't know about Whiff. It's new. Whiff maybe. Because these are multi-billion-dollar market caps, right? And once a meme coin gets to multi-billion, it sort of hangs around.
But yeah, maybe Bonk might. We won't really know till the next bear market and then the bull market after, if Bonk has hit enough traction. It really is. It's kind of like getting a rocket out of Earth's orbit with meme coins, and if it doesn't make it out of Earth orbit, it comes crashing down, burns up on reentry, or crash lands, and it's dead for forever. And that's what happens to most meme coins. And most of the people that I know that have done meme coins this time last cycle, what they did was, oh my gosh, meme coins are up. And then they would take profits, throw it into another meme coin. And so even though they made some money on some of their early meme coins, they end up losing it all because they just tried to roll it in the next meme coins. And then at some point they were stuck holding the chair.
Yeah,
right?
the timing is very
a
important.
few people rolled it into more substantive projects. Those ones did well. They took their gains on some meme coins, rolled into substantive projects, diversified out of meme coins, and didn't end up, getting stuck with no chair when the music stopped.
Yeah, definitely. Timing is everything. And so, as we mentioned, base is really getting quite hot, and it's just starting. If you look at the momentum, it's crazy. I believe base is going to beat Solana in terms of overall captivation of market, just because it's more reliable. It's from Coinbase, right? And Coinbase going to make sure that base never has a single down day. Although that said, Coinbase has gone down, right? But it's usually only a flash crash, and I actually feel like some of those might be on purpose to stop Bitcoin climbing too high. It's just weird timing that's for no reason it'll just crash. But so far the base network has never gone down, has not had a single problem. I've never had any transaction ever get stuck, and Omi's on base now, Chuck's on base, MK's on base, Mammy, which is another one I've talked about, MAMAI, I think it is, a whole bunch of different ones I know migrating over to base. And so because that narrative is growing, almost anything on there is gonna get some of that liquidity. And the other thing that's happening is Doc mentioned this earlier. So Coinbase are building a smart wallet. What that means is you'll be able to buy anything that's on the base network really easily inside the wallet without having to do that Uniswap stuff. We were talking about Uniswap earlier, and that's the easiest, best way to do it right now is you use the Coinbase wallet and you navigate to the Uniswap and you put in the contract address and you buy it that way. Because if you just do a straight swap right now, sometimes you get on random liquidity pools and you lose tokens. So you're going to be very careful on your swap rates. Always do your research. So when you go to buy something, make sure you get the calculator out and you work out, okay, I'm going to times this price by this and work out how much money that would equal. And if you're going to get like half the value for your money, obviously don't do that trade because people don't do this. And I know a lot of people that have lost money using Coinbase wallet, just straight swapping tokens. So you got to be careful with that.
Yeah, I agree with you that base has good potential. It's too early to tell if it's going to be able to exceed Solana. I hope so. Because what they're doing is cool, and it's really big to have Coinbase backing them. And Coinbase was able to watch some lessons learned when Binance built BNB and watch Solana and learn a lot of lessons. So there is some advantage to starting your thing later and taking the best technology available to you at that point and building something. And they're extremely well funded. So I hope Base can handle the kind of transaction that Solana is doing. That would be awesome. In fact, I hope it can vastly exceed Solana, because Solana, when it starts to get to a certain number of transactions, it does fail. And I don't know that they've really fixed those problems yet with Solana. But I would love Coinbase to be one, or Base to be one of the biggest chains in the future, because I think it's going to integrate easily with Coinbase, make it easy for people to buy things with, because I'm looking to the future and saying, how do people buy things without having to have a MetaMask wallet or whatever? Because grandma's not going to be able to create a 24 seed phrase and write it down to create a MetaMask wallet. So how can people create a system that's very similar to what they're used to in the centralized world? And Coinbase making Base happen. If Base ends up becoming huge, well, then that is that future where they just have to have a Coinbase account and they can essentially buy all this different stuff. and grandma doesn't really have to know all that much about 24 seed rate phrase words, and just she's just like, oh, I want to buy some XYZ. Oh, I want some of that OMI token associated with that Batman project. Cool. Then OMI can go crazy, and that's when a lot of money flows into crypto. Has to get a lot easier, and Base gives us a good potential that becomes much easier.
Yeah, I think it'll be helpful for getting mainstream adoption, because we just need something really easy for people, because using MetaMask, it's not that hard, but it's still hard enough that a lot of people just don't want to do it. Right. And it's going to be great when Coinbase just makes everything basically like Robinhood. You remember Dogecoin went so crazy because Robinhood started trading Dogecoin.
I
That's
was just going to say, my niece, she ended up getting and it was simple. You know, it was she never bought a crypto before in her life. She got on Robinhood and she's like, boom. Now
push one button. Yeah, push one button. So simple.
Yep. And she never bought crypto before. I don't think she bought it since. She got involved in the narrative. She had Robinhood, and meantime, Will's telling her to buy OMI, and he ended up doing it all. But what a difference, between her getting that OMI at that point and going into Robinhood and getting the Doge. Right?
Oh, yeah, the difference.
Yeah. Getting added to Robinhood is a big deal, that it just makes it easier for people to buy, because so many young people have Robinhood accounts.
Yeah.
It gives you access to a huge amount of people that don't know anything about crypto, and they have like 6 options to buy. So it's like, that's one of the reasons why they buy these meme coins, is because Robinhood adds them fairly quickly, because they know new people that don't know anything about crypto, they tend to buy the meme coins. So they get a lot of transaction fees on those. So they add big meme coins pretty fast, and then they get a lot of traction on it. Also, meme coins aren't likely to be determined as securities by the SEC.
I heard that.
Maybe they would come after them way down the road, after they would have to successfully win on some of these other lawsuits to then come after them, because there's not much substance behind it. So it's hard for them to make the argument that this is a security.
Yeah. It's almost like we told you it's a joke.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's
We're
a
telling
joke.
you not to buy our coin. It is a joke.
People are buying it, anticipating making a return. Yes, but they're making a return on no work done by the team, because there is no work to be done by the team. And so you can't say it's a security.
Yeah.
So I just to put this out here, that Yorkie paid $33 to do a transaction to buy OMI in Ethereum. It'll be like on Uniswap with MetaMask, and 3 cents to buy OMI on the Base network. So it's a difference of 1,000 times higher fees. That's a big difference, right? 1,000 times fees. And imagine you're doing a lot of transactions. That's quite a lot of money.
100%.
Sean says memes and AI are the meta this cycle period. There's a fact, not argument. You're risking your portfolio, not investing in meme coins. Look, meme coins are going well. I think they help drive adoption, and obviously I like the Chuck token. I think it's going to do well. I do need to do a shout out for Epico. So Epico is the sponsor of this show, and Epico have a whole bunch of different games like Epico Regal, which is really fun to play. It's a tower defense game on mobile. It's on Android and iOS. Check it out, epico.io. They have a whole bunch of other things coming out too. They also have a marketplace, NFT marketplace. So make sure you check out Epico. Big shout out to them. Thanks for sponsoring the channel. And we'll go around and do our last thoughts on what we want to leave the viewers with. Do you want to go last, Rain, or do you go first?
I'll go in a minute.
Yep. So Queen VeVe and Will, do you want to give the people some of your thoughts for them to take away?
Oh, I'll start with the easy one, and I kind of share this, I think, quite a lot. But I've been going through VeVe, and the prices are really nice right now. So if there are those collectibles that you have been eyeing up, it's the boring time, like Ryan always says. But some of those collectibles, there's some really outstanding ones out there with really low costs. I mean, I believe Will told me the partner statue was down to 1.4.
I almost bought it.
He probably did.
I almost bought it. I would have got in trouble, but I would have taken it.
So, that's one of my favorites on the app. That is absolutely one of my favorites. But if there's something that you wanted, and you're like, I'll get it, I'll get it. It's not I don't believe we have a lot of time. I mean, I could be wrong. We could have another year, but when it's over, it's over. And once Walt starts crawling up, it's not going to be 1.5 again. So my advice is, if there's anything you have your eye on, get moving or get a plan to get it now. So time's ticking.
I guess my biggest thing is I help some people work, and if it's been 2 days and Bitcoin hasn't done anything, it's like, what do you think? You guys, it's gonna happen quick, but it doesn't happen that quick. You guys have made it this long. If you believe in a project, and you still continue to do your research, because things do change in certain things, but if you believe in something, don't get sucked in to everybody saying, hey, even if it we'll say Chuck, hey, yeah, if you want to buy some, great, but that doesn't mean what you have. You just measure your opportunity cost, because you could be making a big mistake chasing the candles. Rain always tells you this. He's a smart guy. He's been around. And like I said, every day at work, I have people I try to help, and they just like, oh, I bought Doge. I'm like, you know what? Good for you. I mean, good for you. So just, hey, just be smart with your money. Make sure you can afford to lose it. And if you're not going to do your research, then make sure you listen to people smarter than you. That's about all I can tell you.
No, financial advice.
Wise words on the collectibles. They are undervalued right now. The pendulum swings too far to each way, right? And so some of these collectibles, not recent ones that have launched, ones that launched 5 months ago and longer, that were big epic items then that people have forgotten about. I like to think of it, the shine has kind of come off them. They've gotten dusty and people aren't thinking about them, but they are there. Some of them, like, the hard thing about VeVe is you can't just throw money all across the board, because some things won't pump very much and other things will pump a ton. So you have to make your best guesses on which collectibles will do well. I tend to go for like grail type things, or things that are like first appearances of certain people, big people, certain comics that have a historical precedent of doing well, and they also have some kind of lower supply. So those kind of things, what I look for. I've been liking the Omi token because it's like historically cheap, not cheaper than it was 4 years ago. I wish we could get those prices again. I wish Omi would break below this current support. That would be amazing, because I do think the future of Omi is not in question in my mind, because VeVe is doing so many good things. But we'll see. I don't think it'll break this support and go lower. That'd be amazing if it did. Overall, I like to buy when it's boring and when it feels like the future is in question. And then I use research to make sure the future isn't in as much question as everyone seems to think it is. And then I take those speculative bets. Remember, by this time last bull market, Axie Infinity still hadn't done nothing yet. And it went 3,000x from this point alone. And so a lot of things that haven't run yet, don't think just because they haven't run yet, they won't run. That's not how it works. In fact, if you're selling what hasn't run to roll in what is or has already run, you're probably going to end up behind. And sure, you won't believe me now. You think I'm completely wrong. And there's 10% chance you're right, that you will end up doing better that way. But in the long run, it's not how much you make in the coming 2 months. It's how much you make in the coming year that really determines how well you won in this bull market. And so like some people are saying, oh my gosh, you're so wrong in these projects and I'm in this and it's way up. And it's like, yeah, but the finish line isn't now. The finish line is 12 months from now. 12 months from now, we'll see who did better, right?
Awesome. I'm going to play us out that music. So get ready for some dancing.
All right. I'm not dancing.
What? They say it's the rise of the digital G. Omi token got the market bound.
Come on, Laurie.
With crypto, NFT, non-fungy fame on an EcomiVerse.
There she goes. Can't resist.
I'm the buzz one. Crypto in the blockchain, no mystery. Wow, wanna ignore the stats. I'm repping on this. Yet I chuckle cause I'm betting on this.
I don't know what Rain's got going on there.
I like this segment. This is fun.
Rise to the digital cash. Value surging while my wallet sinks. They call me homie, that's the play. NFTs jumping day to day. Look at the charts, sky's the limit. I'm invested in it, and I'm going to win it. Got that digital gold rush. It's the bomb, but remember, play a coin, make a wish. This is not financial.
Woo, thanks,
That was awesome.
Bye bye.